Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the MD Investor Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Butler, and today I want to talk about death by convenience. Now, I know that topic sounds a little bit crazy, but we're going to break it down and get into it, okay? So, what I want to talk about is death by convenience, and what I mean by that is the way that our society is set up is that the more and more convenient a business offers something, the more and more lucrative that business becomes, and the more society depends on it. So, this is all well and good because it helps us to keep up with our regular scheduled lives. But because of our regular scheduled lives, we're obligated to become more and more busy in things that are more and more distracting because the things that usually take time are becoming more convenient. However, there's a consequence to convenience as well. And we all know that there's a lot of consequences to convenience when we're talking about things that we have to do in our daily lives, such as dealing with our nutrition or dealing with our health or dealing with anything of that nature. It all revolves around convenience. For example, going to the grocery store. Maybe if you were going to the grocery store on a regular basis, you might pick out more healthy things and think about it to yourself. Like maybe look at the nutritional facts, think about what's in your food, think about what you're digesting. And most of the times, that would be a thing that maybe your parents did or something of that nature. But depending on how busy you are and depending on your career, for example, if you are a healthcare worker or you're a physician or you're somebody who works a lot, sometimes going to the grocery store is not an option anymore. Sometimes you get so busy now you're starting to do things like Instacart or you're starting to do things like, like Walmart deliveries or Amazon groceries. Things are where it's way more convenient. You don't have to go to the store and get the things that you want. They could just get delivered to you. So I'm not talking about the idea of things being delivered to you being what's causing death by convenience. I'm talking about the general idea of everything in our society being convenient. When it comes to our health, when it comes to our systems, when it comes to how we operate and we do things, a lot of times we run on autopilot. We don't actually take the time to process and think about what's happening in our lives anymore. And because of that, we end up skipping a lot of steps. For example, it's well known that a lot of things that we have in our food has carcinogens in it, like things that are in our bread, things that are in the candy, things that are in just the overall amount of stuff, the canned foods, everything. It has preservatives. It has things that are known to have either fake sugar in it or have some type of processed oils or hydrogenated carbons. It has things that causes cancer and is well known to cause cancer. But at the same time, it's convenient. So, for example, if you were to make food for yourself, if you were to go and cut potatoes yourself or have your own hamburgers that you made at home yourself, it's going to be significantly less fatty, significantly healthier than it would be if you were to buy it at like McDonald's or a Burger King or something like that. But in this case, if we're so busy, what happens? Imagine you're at work, you're tired, it's a 12-hour shift. You don't have the time to be at home after your 12-hour shift and go and make something for yourself to eat and pack it up for tomorrow to make sure you have a good, healthy lunch. More than likely, you'll just do, you know, Instacart or you'll do like a Grubhub or you'll do like an Uber Eats or something. And they'll just bring you something from somewhere nearby to the hospital for you or to your office for you. And now you have your food. However, what do we have? Now we have processed fries that are cooked in carcinogens, which is just hydrogenated oils that are superheated. It's not cleaned on a daily basis. Maybe they clean their oil traps once a week, or maybe once every 2 weeks. Depends on how frugal the company may be. But in this case, now you're taking a carcinogen based thing like these processed french fries, you're deep frying them in carcinogens, and now all of a sudden people are wondering why we have the highest levels of colon cancer that are occurring or breast cancer that are occurring in younger and younger generations. And it's because our bodies are saturated with carcinogens on a daily basis and we are not putting healthy things into ourselves. And the thing is, that's all about investing as well. Like time is what we have to invest. So if you're able to have healthy foods, if you're able to have healthy vegetables, if you're able to actually spend the time going through what's being put in your body, then now we can actually start investing. So here's the thing about careers and journeys and making money and everything on that nature. Like life itself is a journey altogether. The process is not to supersede it or speed past it. It's not like, hey, I'll start living once I'm 65 and I'm ready to retire. That's too late. You're supposed to live the entire time. Every single day you wake up is a time that you're living, and every single day you're waking up is a time where you're investing. You're either investing in yourself, you're investing in your health, you're investing in your future, you're investing in your children's future. So you're working, but you're working and you're having a more and more convenient life. But that convenient life can be possibly killing you. We want to make sure that whatever you're building for, you're building to create and buy back your time. You want more time in life, not less time in life. You don't want to work yourself to death, okay? You want to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. What's the point in being able to work nonstop, day in and day out? You're doing these 12-hour shifts, these 10-hour shifts, sometimes 16-hour shifts. And then all of a sudden, what do you have to show for it except for fatigue and a broken down body and a will not to work anymore? Like you just get burnt out very quickly. So we want to create a positive attitude to where we have longevity and then you can enjoy the process, which means that you can't work to death. You can't be convenienced to death. You have to put time in, you have to invest in both your wealth and your health and your happiness. So I always end the show when I say that, hey, I always wish you guys the best. I'm wishing you health, wealth, and happiness because those are the three key factors that make up all things like the triad of life. So if you have wealth, then you can afford the better things in life. And when I mean the better things in life, I don't mean that you have luxury cars and luxury hotels and things like that, things to just show off with. What I mean is if you truly have wealth, then what really matters more than just wealth itself is your health. Your health is extremely important. But the way that our society is set up is if you're poor, you can't afford very good food, right? If you go to Whole Foods, organic food is extremely expensive. If you're buying lettuce and you're buying fresh tomatoes and you're buying fresh stuff, they're only gonna last a few days because it's organic, right? You're buying organic things, and organic things are going to be quite expensive. They don't last as long. There might not be as many pesticides in it. There's not gonna be all this other added extra things that are gonna make you sick. It costs more, right? It's easier and more convenient to go buy a huge family bag of Cheetos and it costs way less. It might be $5 for a huge family bag of Cheetos, and you can just make a sandwich and then you can have some chips every single day. And you're just putting this toxins in your body. But at the same time, if you were just to buy vegetables and salads and stuff like that, it might cost you $15 or $20 to make a salad, and you only get a salad for a day or two. And then now you're paying way more money just to eat. That's why the wealth matters. Because once you have the wealth, then you can also focus on your health. And your health also takes time. And then happiness takes time. So if you're working constantly, if you're just trying to get by, if you're just trying to survive, if you're not in a financial space to where you have that type of freedom, then you can't really focus on building wealth because right now you're trying to survive. And if you're just focused on trying to build wealth because you're working nonstop, that's not going to be what builds you wealth. You're going to have to invest to build yourself wealth. You're going to have to invest in order to build up your stocks or your real estate portfolio or whatever it is that's going to bring you the cash flow to where you can start buying your time back. So if you don't have the wealth, then your health is also going to slip. More and more, when I am in the hospitals, I'm seeing younger and younger patients who are more and more sick than they've been before. So what I'm seeing is a lot of autoimmune disorders, a lot of cancer, and younger patients. Not too long ago, I had a patient, she was only like 34 and she had colon cancer and it was fully metastasized at the age of 34. And initially, when she got evaluated by a doctor, she thought she had just like a hernia or something. And she was like, oh, I'll get it checked out later. I'll get it checked out later. And she kept working and she kept working. She kept working. She's like, I've just been grinding and I just been working. So trying to save up and trying to get this and trying to get that. She's been working literally to death. And on top of that, she was already sick. So she was working to death. She's already sick. And now she's continuing to work. So then now when I'm trying to help her, when I'm trying to give her some advice, when I'm trying to give her different options for managing her care, she was less interested. She actually wanted to just continue working. But in this case, she's working herself to death. And how convenient is it to be able to work to death? Like that's not why you're here. That's not why you're on this planet. You're not here to work to death. You're here to provide a life for you, for your family, and a life that you can enjoy. There's only one of them. It's not like, hey, I'm going to work for 30 years and I'll enjoy the next life. There is no next life, right? So I don't mean from like a religious perspective or anything like that. I mean like this physically, you only have one life and you have to be able to focus on it and you have to be able to do your best so that you can actually enjoy it. You're not meant to work forever and not enjoy it. I'll give you another example. I was working at a hospital. Like I do a lot of traveling. I was working at a hospital in like the Mideast in like Pennsylvania or something. Not I said Mideast. I meant I was working at a hospital in Pennsylvania and I saw this plaque on the wall, and it was like a congratulations plaque for somebody who was retiring. It was a guy who was working in the storage room for that hospital for 31 years. He was moving boxes from point A to point B over and over and over again for 30 years. And after that 31st year, he retired and he was done. And I'm like, but you didn't really enjoy your life. So like like a lot of people are proud of certain things, but it's like at the same time, what did you get out of that? What did they get for you? Like what did you get out of that? In this case, I'm like, if you work for 30 years and you never miss a day of work and you have perfect attendance, a perfect attendance award doesn't make you enjoy life more. You don't get to like cash in the perfect attendance and get to go back 30 years and now you're young again. It doesn't work like that. So having perfect attendance and working your butt off and being the hardest worker, it takes a lot of energy to be mundane in this case, right? Because like putting that extra effort in to invest in yourself, to build for yourself, to make sure your health is on the right track, to make sure that your future is on the right track, it takes some extra energy, it takes some extra effort. But I promise you that extra energy and that extra effort is not going to waste. It's going for your own life. It's going for your own benefit. For example, like I can read hundreds of books, but I can't read them for you. I can explain what I learned to you, but I can't understand it and comprehend it and digest it for you. I can talk about investing all day. I can talk about investing and buying stocks all night. I can talk about real estate all day. However, I can't own the property for you. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can't invest for you. So in this case, if that's something that you're interested in, if you're interested in building for your family, if you're interested in building for the future, you have to realize that you can't let things continue to be only convenience because convenience is causing you death. Whether it's in your food, whether it's in the way you're living life, it's very convenient to have a direct deposit check. That's fantastic, extremely convenient. That means you go to work and every single time afterwards you get paid. You don't have to go to the bank and stuff like that. But the convenience of direct deposit is similar to the convenience of getting stuff from Instacart. It means that sometimes you might not look at your expenses so closely. You might not look at your bank account so closely. Maybe you're not going through your credit card statements. Maybe you're not going through your account statements. Maybe you're not going through everything and going, "Hey, why am I buying this? Why am I doing this?" Maybe there's money there that should be invested into your future. Maybe there's money there that could be buying you a new property. Maybe there's money there that can actually be buying you a better stock portfolio, but instead it's being spent conveniently. Why? Because you have direct deposit. You don't have to go check. If you're going to use a direct deposit, use it conveniently for yourself. Take out a portion of your money and have it go directly to your savings account or directly to a stock portfolio account where every single month a certain amount is going directly there. You don't even have to touch it. That's true convenience, right? That's convenience that's going to actually help you, not convenience that's going to lead to your downfall. So when you think about it, when you understand what kind of stuff do you put in your body, what kind of stuff do you put in your bank account, what kind of stuff do you put for your actual time and your care and your well-being, the world is more and more complicated. Even though it seems like things are getting easier, they're not really getting easier, they're just becoming more convenient. And the more convenient things are, the more diluted the overall goal and the mission is. If your goal and your mission is to enjoy your life and enjoy it with your friends and your family and the people that you care about, then how are you actually going to make that happen? How are you going to make that happen if you're not pushing for your dreams? And like would you tell your kids, like, if your kids came and told you, "Hey, I have a dream. I really want to do this." Would you say, "No, don't go for your dreams. Do what's the most convenient." Like going for your dreams is hard. Oh, you want to be a singer, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's hard. Do what's convenient. Just go sing at church instead. And while you're doing that, make sure you stay in school and go get a regular job. Don't chase your dreams. Like, just do only what's convenient. Like, you wouldn't tell your child that. Why? Because you believe in your child. But at some point along the line, you may have given up on yourself. Some point along the line, you kind of told yourself, just stick to what you know, right? Take the time to learn extra things, to learn extra information and skill sets, things that are going to help you build your wealth and build your health and go from the level that you're at now to the level you want to break through. You might have a very comfortable life. You might enjoy it already. You might have a very nice house. You might have a very nice car. You make great money at your job. That's fantastic. But what happens the next generation and the next generation and the generation after that. Is the money that you made today, is it going to last for generations? Is it going to be there? A lot of people don't even know basic information in terms of like how the law is set up in our country. Do you know if you have more than one child, if you die and that house is not in a trust, you only can leave that house to one child? Now, what happens if both of your children were living with you? If you have, let's say you have three kids or two kids, let's say you have two kids, if both of your children were living with you and you left the house to the oldest, if you left the house to the oldest child, the younger child can't live there anymore. Did you know that? That is like actually in the IRS tax guidelines, and you can look this up. If you left the house to somebody else, once you go through probate, they will leave the house in the name of the person you designate. Once you designate that person, the other family members are not allowed to live there by law, which means that what happens? Then most people fight. And if most people fighting, like one of your siblings, like they're gonna fight, right? One of the kids are gonna be like, "That's not fair. I love mom too. That's not fair. I love dad too." Then what do? Then they sell the house. Now nobody has a house to live in. They sell the house, they split the money, and then what happens? The way the cost of living is happening over and over and over and over again, by the time your children are old enough to buy their own house and stuff like that, houses now average around 500, $600,000. They're going to double by the time, like let's say it's 20 years from now, by the time your child is old enough to own and buy their own house, the houses market is going to double. And how do you think they're going to pay for a house if by them just having a regular job and doing what they're told to do all the time? It's not going to work that way, which means that your children can't buy a house, which means that they have to rent, which means that it's always going to be the same thing, which means that poverty will perpetuate, which means that no one else will be able to break through that glass ceiling. So if you're just comfortable being in the middle class and you want to push up to the next level, you're going to have to do some extra work. You can't continue to live by convenience because it will be the death of you. It will be the death of your finances and it will be the death of your health as well. You don't realize how bad to some of the stuff that we put in our body is. So people are like, "Oh, it's just butter." Yeah, but is it natural butter? Is it like was it butter that was made from real cream, or is it butter that's like partially hydrogenated so that it can stay on shelves later and it's made with EDTA and it's made with red 40 and red yellow and it's all kinds of stuff. Even like the basic cereal that we give our kids, like it has all kinds of stuff in it. So what I'm saying is don't let the convenience of life be what takes you out. Be willing to do the extra work. Be willing to read the extra books. Read and put more information in your body. Get more skill sets. Put more time into your body. Exercise more. Put more into your health by making sure that you have the time to exercise on a regular basis and to eat good food. Put more into your wealth by making sure that you learn what it takes to understand building up a proper portfolio, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whatever you like. Because not everybody likes the same thing. To be honest, they are all the same, regardless of what people tell you. They're all the same because it's just business. And if you're buying and selling a business, you're going to either make profit or you're going to take a loss depending on your entry and your exit. Same thing with real estate. So it's the same thing with real estate and it's the same thing with the stock market. So it really just depends. In this case, I just want to be able to help you guys get on the right track. And sometimes this information is not genuinely shared. It is not something that's widely spread and it's not something that's ever really thought of. But you only really have time to think about how society works and to think about how life works and to think about how conveniences are affecting you when you have time to relax, sit still, and see the difference. When you're working constantly and you're thinking about paying bills constantly and you're thinking about surviving constantly, you don't get to see the big picture. And that's the hard part is if you don't get to see the big picture, you just kind of focus on being an intricate part of the working class and the intricate part of working detail. And whether or not you're a doctor or a lawyer, the truth is you're still a part of that intricate working class. Whether we make more money or not is irrelevant because in reality, we're still workers. You don't have the same type of freedom to where you can just walk away and never have to go back to work for months at a time or years at a time because you don't have that convenience, which means that you don't actually get to take time and just sit and look at the big picture of what everything is and how everything is intricately connected. But once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm here to help you. I want you guys all to have the same thing. I want you and I wish you health, wealth, and happiness And I really want to be able to help you get to the next level. So, again, if you're ever interested in learning more about investing or you want to just find out how to get to the next level, we offer coaching and things of that nature. So, head over to the mdinvestor.com and just look into our stuff. We have free classes, we have all kinds of things. And then we also have the YouTube channel. So, always tune in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way, you can always check out our content and then give us some feedback. Let us know, hey, do you think this topic makes sense? Do you think it's way off base? Let us know. I want to hear back from you so I can tailor it to what makes sense for everybody who's listening. Again, I'm Dr. Butler, the MD Investor, and I'll see you guys next week.